Good evening. This is meteorologist DT from WXRisk.com with the latest snowstorm podcast. It's 10:30, 10:45 here in the east, the Sunday evening, January 28th. Let's talk about snowstorm potentials over the eastern half of the country. And quite frankly, there's not a lot going on. And the pattern remains hostile and remains a problem, at least for the next 2 weeks, from what I can see. And there are some threats over the past couple of days which have disappeared in most of the weather models, and we'll get into that in a little bit. So let's start out by taking a look at the actual conditions here. These were max temperatures on the 28th, which was this afternoon. You can see a lot of 50s over Virginia and into the Delmarva, much of Maryland as well. Near 50 over much of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, some low 50s there, New York City, into the mountains of West North Carolina, and then of course even some 50s and near 60s in much of North Carolina. The next slide here, we'll have you can see temperatures from yesterday. It was really warm. We had the sunshine, no rain, and temperatures were much warmer even. So it's been a pretty mild pattern. Now the snowstorm matrix shows that if we take a look here, not a lot to get excited about. The pink represents you know areas of no snow here, so you can see. So it's very little conditions here, Ohio Valley, so on and so forth. And again, in for the days 4, 5, and 6, and 7, 8, or 9, there's just not a lot going on here. This blue stuff here, that's moderate accumulating snow. Maybe a lot of this is also minor here on this Tuesday for the interior Northeast, and then maybe something on February 4, 5, 6, I-95. Again, very minor, big deal. This is not a and then more moderate stuff maybe for the Midwest and Ohio Valley. Some of this is even optimistic, so I wouldn't get that excited about the pattern here over the next 2 weeks. Okay, let's take a look at our temperatures. The last week, boy, it has been warm. The Pacific pattern has taken over, a complete reversal from what we saw in the first half of January, most of December. So temperatures have been darn warm. I mean, look at that. That red stuff there is 9 degrees Fahrenheit above normal over the Midwest and portions of interior Northeast. Some places 12 degrees above normal in Iowa and Minnesota. And as we go further down the road here, let's look at our precipitation over the last 2 weeks. Look at this developing dryness here. And this is related to the drought. There's no doubt about it. We have a drought going on here in a large portion of the country. And this is going to be a big story as we go into the spring, the summer months, unless this drought ends. So it could make for a pretty hot summer. We got to get some changes. Now we do have some precipitation here in the Midwest over the last 7 days or so. That was good, but look how dry it's been in Virginia, southeastern states, and then over the lower plains. Ohio Valley's been pretty dry. The Tennessee Valley's been pretty dry. So it has not been a wet winter by any stretch of the imagination. All right. Here we'll take a look at the little PISAD system for Monday. The low pressure is along the coast, a little bit of rain and precipitation into the mid-Atlantic states, not a big deal. Now the cold air comes in, but it's really very marginal. It comes in Monday night, and it might change over to snow before it ends in portions of the mid-Atlantic region, but I'm not excited about this event at all. Now we look at it close up here. This is a Monday night at 10 p.m., and then of course taking us in a little bit into early Tuesday morning. Now the rain snow line at 850 millibars, which is the blue line here. So this is all precipitation and potentially snow here. And you can see that Hampton Roads in eastern Virginia and some more snow back here. But the low level temperatures are still above 32 degrees, as we pointed out in the last podcast. So that hasn't changed. So this may be snow or rain mix in eastern Virginia, but it's not a big deal. The only real accumulating snow here that I see maybe over West Virginia, western Pennsylvania, western Maryland. This next slide is the GFS from the midday Sunday. It's the same sort of thing. The rain snow line is clearly off the coast, so temperatures are getting colder here by Tuesday morning. And there's a little bit of, this could be snowing here over Washington, maybe, D.C., maybe, who knows. The area is snow-starved, as we all know, central Pennsylvania, but it's a very minor event. The ground's going to be wet. The ground's going to be warm. The rain conditions, a lot of water on the ground ahead of time. It's just not impressed with it. If we look at our snow forecast, this is the GFS on 12Z. I'm not excited. What do you want to do? It's Pennsylvania. Get 3 inches of snow. Let's call it the National Guard. What can I tell you? Very light stuff in eastern Virginia. Under an inch, and then even beyond that, the 18Z GFS is about the same. Here's the European for Mid-Atlantic region, lower Mid-Atlantic, nothing. I mean, yeah, it's a half inch of snow, maybe in Richmond and Tappahannock, Northern Neck, DC. No reason to get excited about this, folks. And then this is the 18Z GFS, same sort of thing. You know, so and the problem is the pattern just remains hostile. It's just not a great pattern. Now this is the overall pattern here for a Tuesday early morning, 5 a.m., 4 a.m. And you can see the trough is very nicely positioned over the east coast, negatively tilted trough, but the low develops rapidly off the coast and goes in this direction. There's nothing here to slow it down. So it's just going to fly off in this direction. Meanwhile, we have more energy coming in here, which is acting as a kicker and forcing the system off the coast. So a very strong Pacific jet bringing in the mild Pacific air again. So we cool down for a day or two, and then that's about it. And then this is a Friday, Thursday night, February 1st. So we finally get into February, and we can see, actually, I think I skipped a slide here. Yeah. So this is actually the 31st of January. So let's go back one slide here. And you can see that the trough has now moved off the coast from where it was before. Remember, it's over here. Now it's off the coast. But there's the next system coming in. There's our kicker, which is kicking it off the coast. And there's more Pacific energy coming in here. Now we have a nice block developing here over Alaska, which is going to help things later on. But in the meantime, this is essentially a Pacific pattern still. There's no direct flow of Arctic air into the U.S. So, a lot of people are jumping the gun on the cold air way too soon. It's going to be a slow evolution of the process to get out of the warm pattern. Now, this next slide, this is the surface map for Thursday evening, February 1st. Okay, so, well, we see the high pressure here. There's one off the coast here. There's another big cold high coming down. That's nice. North winds driving the cold front. That's good. And here's the front running right through here. Now, this is probably snow north of the front, but it's just a cold front. Now, yesterday the models were very bullish on this. They were stalling the front. There was going to be snow in the mid-Atlantic region, but that's now all gone. And you can see this on the next slide. This is Friday morning. It's just a cold front. That's it. Rain, maybe end of snow. Big freaking whip-de-doo. The front's through here. Okay, the north wind. All right. Now remember, all this is precipitation in the last 6 hours. So even though the front is here, this precipitation has fallen over the last 6 hours. So as a result, you look at the precipitation, you go, oh, that's snow. No, because that's associated with the cold front when it was there 6 hours ago. So you can't misread the maps here and think that that's going to be snow. So as we go on to the next map here, this is now Friday morning, February 2nd. And we have a deep, broad trough that's not doing anything. Here's our polar vortex. Okay, there's a blocking pattern over there. But this is Pacific flow. A little bit of cold air getting in here. That's not too bad. But there's nothing over Canada, over Greenland, Canada at all. So the NAO is clearly positive. There's a moderate trough here in the Midwest. Okay, it's cold. That's it. What can I tell you? We look at the service map. This is the European from this afternoon. A little bit of snow on February 2nd in New England. Oh well. And to show you how that's changed, this is from this is the data from, this was early on Sunday morning, right here. So this was early Sunday morning. Let me get my marker. This was Sunday AM. And this is the 12Z run on Saturday. So you can see this is a big snow, a lot of snow geese, a lot of snow fans were really going excited. DC into, Philadelphia, New York, Boston, Connecticut, that's fine. But then this is the 0Z run. And then this, of course, is the, like I said, this is the current run. And it's not doing anything. So what can I tell you? And then beyond that, the pattern continues to be nothing to write home about. That cold high moves off the coast. This is Sunday, February 4th. So the cold air is in here for like 1 or 2 days. Maybe 1 day, maybe 2 days, and that's it. Now the high is here. The winds are turning southeasterly again. The next front here. Now this is another Arctic blast coming down, a big cold high up in here. But it doesn't come down in any direct impact. The cold air stays along the U.S.-Canada border. And the reason for that is because of this. This is 180 hours out. Now we have a monster polar vortex. You can all see the vortexes right here. Let me highlight it. There it is. There's the polar vortex, okay? And here's our trough right here in the middle of the country. All right. There's our blocking pattern, but there's no direct flow. So we're seeing this is coming in here. This is Pacific air. That's not Arctic air. The Arctic air is here, but it's not coming south. We need this to hook up. That's what we need. We need to get that to hook up, and that'll make a much deeper trough, and then you create all sorts of winter storm possibilities. This is not the pattern that you want to see. You do not want to see this sort of pattern. It doesn't do anything for you. Pacific flow here, Arctic flow there, which doesn't come into the country. And as a result, the pattern is very transitory, the cold air masses. Let's look at our 850 temperatures. Okay, this is the next 5 days. Kind of mild in the northeast, a couple of degrees above normal. All the cold air is U.S. Canada. Here's the next one, 6 to 10 days. All the cold air is along the U.S. Canada border. It's not coming south. You can clearly see that. 11 to 15 days. So a lot of Canada is very cold, but it's not coming south. Not in this pattern. All right, now 16 to 20 day. Again, this is the rollover model. So what we do is we find the top 10 analogs for the 11 to 15 day based upon Sunday, January 28th. Then we take those top 10 analogs and we roll that pattern over and look what the pattern was on the 16 to 20 day. And then take a mean of those 10, and this is what we get. Again, notice here that this is a really useful tool because the 16 to 20 day, look at all the cold air staying in Canada. That's exactly what we just saw. And of course, this sort of pattern means you probably end up getting some sort of front over the Northeast and Midwest, and it may produce some decent rain in the Southeast, and we could use the rain here in the Ohio Valley in the Northeast, and or snow in the northern areas. But you can see this is the cold air, and this matches that. This is 11 to 15 day. This is 16 to 20 day. Cold air is not coming south. Let's take a look at why. Well, this is your Arctic oscillation. Well, this isn't very good. This is the Atlantic side here. So this is the Atlantic side. So here's our Arctic oscillation, and the Arctic oscillation is negative a little bit, and then it goes neutral. Again, we're looking at the green here. And then the NAO, that's positive. In February 5th, February 7th, February 9th, February 10th, and 12th. And that's because the huge polar vortex is over far northeastern Canada, which means you get a positive NAO, no blocking over Greenland, and there you go. So the Atlantic side is crap. It's just a bad setup for any sort of snowstorms. Now the Pacific side's a little different. So this is the Pacific. Okay. Here's the Pacific side. And this is the EPO. EPO goes negative. That's great. You want to see that? Excellent. Here's the PNA. PNA develops the original West Coast. Boom. That's great because that will give you a big connection from the Arctic flow into the U.S. So you want to see this. So both of these are good, but the Atlantic side is not good. Let's talk MJO here, and you can see that the MJO right now is in phase 5, about to go into phase 6. And again, all the models show that it's clearly going to go into phase 8. This is the, let's look at 3 different models to look at. The Japanese model, which is very good for the MJO, doesn't go out very far, goes out to February 5th, it's in phase 7. So phase 7 in early February, that's correct. The European and the Australian model, this is the European ensembles, the Australian ensemble, you can clearly see phase 8 and phase 1 by late February, February 26th, and this one actually takes us almost into early March. Okay, well, what does that mean for the weather pattern? Here you go. This is phase 8 for February. Whenever you have a strong MJO, it means the snowstorm. So mid-February. So there's still some potential here. But the problem is, and now if we look at this is La Nina. This is La Nina phase 8. This is a little more accurate. And again, you can see the strong feature right here, which indicates low pressure on the East Coast should form and be a pretty big storm. And then as we go beyond that, for late February, this is phase 1, also a snowstorm pattern, and this is finally phase 2. So, you know, there is some potential, but we got to wait till mid-February, folks. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not excited about it. And if we go beyond that, this is February 16. Now, European weekly is not impressive. This is a very bland pattern. And in fact, all the cold air here, mid-February, is over New England and the Northeast, but the rest of the country is warm. And finally, if we look at the Rossby wave model, we can see the model. This is as of January 28th. The new model drops the vortex. You can see the polar vortex comes way south here. There it is. Okay, and it brings a lot of very cold air late February. Look at the dates here. So this is February 28th, February 18th to the 22nd, and this is February 23rd to the 27th. So potentially serious cold here, or even severe cold. And then if we look at our temperatures down the road, next slide, here we go. And you can see the temperatures are really, really cold, late February as we approach March. So maybe something in middle late February after we get to the MJO into phase 8. But until then, there's a lot of reasons not to get excited about this pattern. Maybe one of these cold fronts might slow down and might stall and maybe bring some snow to the northeast, the mid Atlantic region over the next 2 weeks, but I am not impressed. This is meteorologist DT from weatherist.com. I'll talk to you soon on the Facebook page and over on the Twitter page.